Hello, Aqua here. Welcome to episode 45 of my Feed the Beast Beginner's Guide. Now, I've not got anything really planned for this episode. First thing I want to start with is, as you know, I'm trying to keep up to date with all the news regarding a 1.5 pack, and there's been some significant information released in the last 24 hours. The repo problem they had, they called it a repo problem. They had a problem syncing the hashtag on the server-side files to the servers, something like that. It's something I don't really understand, but they had an issue. That's sorted now. The 1.5 version is on the launcher, but there's no password yet. Now, the latest thing I've seen from Slowpoke is saying the packs on the launcher, they haven't released a password because they plan to update things over the weekend, which may suggest that we have to wait till Monday before we actually get access to the password or access to the pack. Now, there's some important things regarding this as well. This is 1.5.2, I believe it's going to be for. And worlds made with it should be okay for 1.6, but they've changed the recommendation there that you may want to restart 1.6 worlds, and that's, I think, largely in part because King Lemon, the guy who makes thermal expansion, as far as I understand it, either him or someone he's involved with is rewriting the way liquids are handled. So liquids will probably all reset between 1.5 and 1.6 version. So if you've got big tanks of liquids, that might all vanish. I think I've got to talk to the guys who I play with, but I think we're probably going to start a 1.5 server and trust in my mate's ability to update it to 1.6 when it comes. That's what I'd like to think we can do. Because the guys I play with are all pretty technical, so we should be able to sort it out. What that probably means is if we do have any liquid tanks, they're probably going to be really small, just in case we lose all the liquids when it updates to 1.6, whenever that update will be. You see my XP going up nicely here, just stood on the bees. I can stand on the bees and chat and get some free XP while I'm doing it. You can see I've expanded the bees a bit. So it looks like we may get 1.5, well, it looks like we should definitely get it by Monday, we may get it earlier. So, just the thing is, I don't know how much people are going to want to commit to a 1.5 server, knowing that they may have to restart to 1.6. They're recommending a restart to 1.6, but I think that's largely because of this liquids rewrite. That should make liquids handling quite a lot better. So it's all for the good. Right, what I want to do in this episode, there's a couple of little things I want to deal with that I just want to catch up on. So one of the first things I want to talk about is, first of all, I've changed this a bit. If you remember, this was 2 routers, a barrel, and Tesseract. Well, I realised that I was actually doing quite a bit of overkill there. All we actually need is a Tesseract, sets of frames, next to 1 router, set to the correct inventory, which is the frame housings, which, if you remember, is called TAL extra BLVRE. That's the frame housings there. So I've been able to get rid of one of the routers and the barrel, because we don't actually need to keep a stock of frames. What we can do is, because I had a stock, I've actually got a stock of 750 odd frames in there, because that's what was in the barrel. I've taken them all out of the barrel. But the way we have this set is, remember, it's that Tesseract there, frames, and it's set on this export bus to always craft. So whenever that can send an item, it's just going to craft one. Obviously we've got a backlog there of 742, so it'll send all them first, but once it runs out, it'll just craft them on demand. And if you remember, we craft up to 512 impregnated sticks as we need them, so that'll craft them on demand. So things are just getting crafted on demand rather than being crafted all the time. So impregnated sticks are making away because we haven't got 512. We've only got 100 and something in there. It shouldn't be crafting. It is crafting by the look of it, though, isn't it? Right. There we go. That's getting back up to 512. So it shouldn't actually craft any of these impregnated frames until it needs some, I believe. That's actually a lie. I don't think it's using them, is it? It's not using them. It's because of the way it's set. It's not going to use them up. it's going to keep crafting rather than use them. So what I need to do for now is set that to move single items, and it'll gradually go through that stack of 742 rather than crafting more. So it'll go through that, and then once that's out, I need to set that back to craft. Same with the chocolate frames there. Now this is the other bit I've done. What I've set up here is another little tesseract system. Oops, I'll just click on that by mistake. No, that's okay. Called DNA, and I've actually had to go into the sub basement here, and I made another alveary down here. Well, what we've got in this is I've got a little setup here. So this is why I realised I'd done it wrong upstairs. I've got a little setup here. I've made another channel called chocolate frames, C frames, and this one's putting chocolate frames into that same setup there, just a router with a machine filter, and that's sending chocolate frames into the frame I was in there. If you remember my cultivated bees that I use to get DNA from, these have got shortest lifespan, which means they die in one tick with them 4 frames. So these bees are dying in one tick. You'll see that I've got a little setup here that's sending the honeycomb. So what I've set the apiary's pipe here to is items go to black, anything goes to red, any bees goes to blue. So as long as bees can go back in there, they'll go there. If not, they'll go to anything which is red. And items go to black, which is just into this incinerator. So I'm just getting rid of the honeycomb because I don't need the honeycomb. I just want to get rid of it for now. And what that's doing is whenever there's bees, they get sent through there into here, which should be filling this up. So let's make sure things are coming through. There you go. So every time the bee dies, that's getting 3 drones. It's not getting me much, but it's automated, so I don't have to get me much. That's just going to fill this up, and once this is full, if I work this out correct, once this is full, that means this can't send things anywhere, so this will break the connection with this down here. So what I've set is a structure pipe with just an iron gate on there, set to active output links. So once that gene pool's full, it won't have an active output link because the tesseracts are clever. It knows that it can't send things anywhere. So instead of keep trying to send things, it'll break this connection, which will turn that redstone signal off. And this is only working with the redstone signal on, so that'll stop this working. So this will stop until it needs to. So basically what this is going to do is just going to keep that little system there full of DNA without me having to have tanks or worry about it or manually do anything. That's a little thing I've set up. Quite useful, I think. Need to make sure that this bit works as I want it to, but for that I need to wait until it's full. But yeah, these bees die every 27.5 seconds, which is 1 bee tick. There you go, they just die. Also, these are set to max fertility and shortest life. So basically, I'm just producing. It's just a little drone producer for DNA. Pretty cool, I thought. Pretty cool. And it seems to be working up to now. Now, and it's tidied my system up. I can have that down there. I can have the carcass there. The stats on them bees, let them work indoors. They've got the cave dweller stat. So that'll just work away. Pardon me, hiccups. And that'll just work away. Keep filling this up. And it's all good. It's all good. That chest there, by the way, is just if I've got more than one thing to refill, and I just need somewhere to put it. So just use that as a little chest to put serums in if I've got a bit of a backlog of serums that need refilling. What have I been doing here? I made a couple of lapis bees. Need to fill that one back up. That longest lifespan can go back in there where it should be. What else did I want to make? They're all just industrious, imperial and demonic. I've just put to a side for now because I don't actually need them at the minute. You see I've added another couple of alvears here. What I've not got on these yet, I can put the lapis bees in there, which is cool. What I've not got on these is I've not got any wiring, any piping. So these are automated yet. I need to add some piping, which is have to go on this side. The problem with alvearies is that you need 2 gaps between touching one, so I can't fit as many as in here I'd like to. If you could live with 1 gap in between and the pipe nicer, then I could have it so I could actually fit 16 alvearies in this little 15 by 15 square, but as it is I can't, so that's alright. But yeah, I need to sort that out, so that's going to start sending this lapis combs, which we've pressed U. Is it not working there? No. Press U. Do I need any eye turned on? Probably. Now let's try and press U. There we go. Lapis comb. You see each lapis comb gives 6 lapis, so you get a lot of lapis. I need to get some lazurite dust, which is useful for other stuff like dye and stuff. You get 6 lapis from that, so these are really good for getting lapis. I should bring that back in. Cows are bloody noisy. I think there may be a mod we might be getting that as a sound dampener. I think I mentioned that before. There's a mod that's got various utility kind of blocks and stuff, and one of them is a area based sound dampener, which is pretty cool, which will be able to make them cows shut up because they're noisy. Something else I'm going to do in this episode, another little thing, is something I've neglected. I've tidied this up a little bit, as you can see. I made a little bit of room around the thing there. I'm going to make some alembics, because I should have really shown that earlier. As soon as you can make alembics, you should get them really, keep your aura tidy. But I've not done that just yet. But I'm going to do that in this episode as well. That'll be a little bit later on. So that's the bee stuff finished with. I think that's all I had to show you. What's been going on here? I've just been... Oh, that's it. I made another refine, so we've got more. We can have more bees, more oil production, more fuel production. So that's what these extra 2 algae is for, the lapis and the other one there. At some point I need to breed up some ruby and stuff like that, but I ain't got them yet. So this is what I mean by having the chest downstairs. I've got 2 serums to refill there, but of course I've only got 1 synthesizer, so that one has to wait. So I'll just put that in that chest there for now. Right, what else have I done? Well, another thing I've done is, if you remember, this had the consumer and the producer. I had one on the side as well. I had 4 pipes going to 1, 3 into there. Well, I actually had a little think about it, and with the actual consumer and 8 pipes around that in a square, that's 9, and 9 gives us the right amount of fuel, the right amount of input to the consumer for an entire boiler, and that's 144 mJs is the output we're going to get. That's the amount of steam it puts in. So the way I can show that is, I'm just going to, if you break these with a shift right click with your Omni wrench, it maintains the power. If you ever want to drain one, just hit it with a pick or whatever, it'll break and it'll lose all the power. So that power's got all gone from that now, you see. I'm going to do the same with that one. It's not a big deal because the steam gets replenished anyway. So what I can do now is if I replace them 2 with no power in, they're going to try and fill up, of course. So I've got 2 in there. Now if we look in this now, you see there, that's pulling a full 720 MB a tick, and it's putting out 144 MJ a tick. So that's the maximum that a high pressure liquid boiler can put out, or a high pressure boiler, it doesn't matter if it's liquid. Maximum a high pressure boiler can put out, a high pressure 36, is 144 MJ a tick. The amount of steam it produces is 720, which is why it can run 18 engines if you're doing it engine wise, because engines them steam engines take 40 each. So that's running at max with your consumer touching your boiler and 8 liquid ducts around it. That can get the max out of this. So this should go down to about halfway and stick on halfway because it's running at max. So that's just going to fill them guys back up, and that seems to be resetting to a lesser output when I'm breaking them. I didn't know it did that. I thought it maintained its stats. No, they have actually reset. It must be when you were breaking with a pick, it actually sets them back to standard. Because if you do it with a shift with the Omni wrench, it'll remember how it was set. So breaking it with a pick must also change that. So that's something to bear in mind as well. I've got rid of the hydrogen tank. It's the next thing to talk about. Now, I did have 2 hydrogen tanks here, and I thought that's a bit silly. What we do with hydrogen is, if you put 4 hydrogen cells into a industrial centrifuge, you get 1 deuterium cell. So I've started producing deuterium instead. In the same vein, if you put 4 deuterium cells into a industrial centrifuge, you get tritium. So I've just made one bucket's worth of tritium by getting 4 cells of this stuff. and put it through the thingy. And at the minute now, all the hydrogen that's getting produced is going straight into the industrial centrifuge upstairs. And oh, speaking of that, we should have run out of power. We're down to 19. I've been making a bit more UU matter. We need to turn that. It's getting quite low. Let's go turn that off. We should have a bit of UU matter in here. We've got 3 in there. We're well off the 50 that we need to make an ultimate hybrid, as you can see. But 3, I should probably start upgrading these one at a time. These little things. So as you can see, this centrifuge here at the minute is set to accept hydrogen cells, and they go in there and get turned into the deuterium. Pretty cool, pretty cool. I've got that turned off at the minute because I was making UU matter, but I suppose I could. I'll let that fill back up before I turn it back on. In fact, let me just turn it on for a little bit. Oops. There we go. That'll start processing bauxite again, which will start producing hydrogen cells again. Then you should start seeing some hydrogen cells going there. I've kept my eye on that though. I don't want that to empty. And yeah, so what this is used for is this is endgame stuff, of course. This deuterium, tritium, and stuff. These are the fuels for a fusion reactor. But I thought rather than having more than one tank of that, I'd leave that full. I might as well fill this tank up. And then once this tank's full, I could fill that tank up. And once that tank's full, that's like well, if you think one tank of this is like 4 of them tanks, because it's 4 times, and then one tank of that is like 4 of them, which is like 16 of them. So that's a hell of a lot of liquid to fill all 3 of these up, because of the way that you make that from that and that from that. So yeah. Also, I added another one of these on, another refinery, just to speed that up a bit. 492 buckets worth in there. That means we have actually got enough to heat a boiler up. I could make another boiler up. It only takes 233 to heat it up. 12 an hour to run. We're easy getting that. So, well, especially now I put that second refine B up there, we'll be getting that. So I could put another boiler here, and then add another 144 mg a tick to our output. Plenty of power. Plenty of power is all good. I just connected this back up again just to make some more of them things, because I thought I might need them for the build downstairs, but it turns out I didn't. And the tank that was over there with hydrogen has moved over here for now. Captor, also known as Monkey 88, has let me know that he's been playing around with. Oh, these are set, and these spawners. Now, it's an 8x8x3, and the 3 blocks these can spawn is this block, or that block, height-wise. Yeah. So it's the spawner, the block above the spawner, and the block below the spawner are the 3 spawning places. So because these are too high at the minute, they can spawn, I believe, the block below and the block level, but not the block above because the roof's in the way, I think. So if I was to get rid of, is that going to put me out to the surface? It is. It's maybe not the best idea, this, but let me just go with it for a second. I can always change it back. Oops, didn't mean to break that dirt block, but never mind, it's no big deal. Let me of course the stuff there's collected it all. So in theory, because of the blocks they're spawning, I should now get a faster spawn on my wither skeletons, because they've got this extra block that can spawn in, this extra space, because of the way they spawn. That makes sense. So because the skeletons are too high, they should be able to spawn there as well now. I need to get a bit of dirt to cover that up, because I want to make sure I've kept it exactly controlled, and that'd be an extra block for them to spawn in. There we go. So in theory, now I want to turn this on. If I can get through there without making a mess of it. Let's turn that off. Get some glass. Cover that back up. In theory, if I turn that on, the spawn should be a bit quicker. Now, if you look at my Let's Play, I had So you can see that some of them are spawning higher up by the look of it. There was low. There was some middle there. And that one looked like it was maybe a bit higher. So because these can spawn in a 3 either side of the thing, you should actually have 2 gaps above your spawner when you set it up. That makes sense? And that would be in the same way there, because we could spawn 1 lower. This should maybe be raised off the ground one for things to spawn quicker. Especially when you're using a grinder, because if you can keep the spawn going, it won't go back into its cycle, into its waiting cycle, another little blue bar that you get. So that should spawn skeletons quicker than it was doing, because I've opened that space for a bit. In theory, that's it seems right to me. It's something I've never actually thought about, but if you think about it, it makes sense. So that's something worth knowing. As you can see, this episode really is a lot of breakabout stuff. I just, if you look at my hand there, so my hand's yellow. I've changed my skin. I'm a big fan of Venture Brothers, so I thought I'd get a Henchman 21 skin for a while. If you don't watch Venture Brothers, you should. It's really good. I really like it. I don't know if it's my favourite. Archer's really good. Frisky Dingo was also really good, but that got cancelled years ago. Made by the same people who make Archer. But Venture Brothers really is funny. And Henchman 21, 24 are really good. This is a Henchman 21 skin from Season 4 when he gets bulked up. And he's got the tatty sleeves on his thing. Oh yeah, that's my Gary skin. I thought I'd put that on for a while because the new season of Venture Brothers starts next month. So I thought I'd mess around. Right, what else did I want to cover? There was some other stuff I wanted to cover, wasn't there? What have I done? How's my power? 18, that's alright. It's gone down 1% still. See, look at that, it's got 504 buckets in, still at 0 because that can hold a ridiculous amount of liquid. What I'm going to do is, I can't remember what I was going to do next. So I'm going to go, oh that's it, I was going to do some Thaumcraft stuff, wasn't I? That's it, of course it is. I need some gold for that, I believe. So let's see what's what with this. In fact, I'll break the camera, I'll get prepared off camera. I'm going to wire these beads up as well. I'll get prepared off camera and then I'll come back when we're ready to make some alembics, which is what stores your V when you're doing Thaumcraft. Back in a bit. Okay, I'm back and we're about to go do Thaumcraft in just a minute. I just came and checked how the liquid was going into these tanks and I realised that I've not actually connected that back up when I've moved this around. So we've actually got 24 deuterium cells in there. Just so you know what's happening. Deuterium is made from hydrogen. So a 4 hydrogen cell will get you one of them, as I mentioned, and then the same applies for deuterium gets you 1 tritium. So I mentioned that earlier in the episode, but I just thought I'd show you it there. But now if I connect this back up, we actually see some going into the tank because I didn't realise that wasn't connected. And we've got like 20 or 24 in there, so we've got power now. That's saying that turns to liquid, and as you'll see in the pipe here, the liquid can go to both tanks, but obviously that one's full, so it's going into that one. So we've got some nice deuterium going into there. Wonderful stuff, wonderful stuff. Right, let's go to my other base and do a bit of Thaumcraft stuff. This is, I've been slacking a bit with this, to be honest. I should have shown you this a long time ago. So, a couple of things. The research you need for this is, first of all, you need warded jars. Warded jar research. Warded jars are pretty straightforward. Arcane wood blocks, glass panes. We actually need a couple of them, so I'm going to see if I can make some. I've got some glass panes, we have. Wonderful. I'll make 4 of them, so we've got enough glass for. Yep, 4 of them. 2, 3, 4. Oops. Yeah. 4 of them. Okay, so that's the first research you need for this bit. Obviously this research opens up once you've done your unified thalamic theory and open all this up. So once you've done the warded jar research, you can actually do the basic flux research. That's the bit we need. Basic flux research. This you're taking a first step towards understanding and managing flux. So what we'll do with this is we need these things, flux filters, and then pretty straightforward. Use some purus and some permutation, a bit of gold around some silverwood logs. And what they're an ingredient that goes into an alembic, arcane alembic. Need some other stuff there. You see there's brewing stands, warded jars, flux filters and some more gold. And some right in there, but don't bother with that much. So let's, I was actually going to research. If you notice there, because my book has gone back to how it was before, I've not actually got that researched anymore. If you remember, my books filled up sometimes, and for some reason sometimes I've got all the research and sometimes I have no idea why that's happening. But as you can see, I went to make another one of equal trade because that was nearly dead, and I realised that I've not actually researched it, so that was a bit of a kick in the teeth. Right, so 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and 3 of them. What that's going to do for us is apparently nothing. Oops, because it's not 3 of them at all. It's 3 of them. 1, 2, 3. 3 silverwood logs. They're the blue trees. That needs purus and permutatio. 8 permutatio. So we need 24 permutatio and 24 purus. Purus. One of the easiest ways of getting that is refined iron. You get a lot of metallum though, extra. See all that metallum extra? That's going to go get thrown into the atmosphere. Seeds are good for permutatio. So I want 24 seeds. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use some diamonds because I've got plenty of diamonds now. And we're close to making diamond bees. See, that's got 4. So 2 of them, so 6 of them will get me the 3 things I need. Bit expensive, but and just double check. It's only going to take 25V. So we should be able to make all 3 of these at once by throwing in 6 of them. If I can throw it right. Throw like a girl. And 24 of them. Should give us enough. All 3 of them, and it has. Wonderful. And now all we need is to put in the pattern. I made 3 brewing stands. Brewing stands are really straightforward. They're just 3 cobble and a blaze rod. And 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. There we go. So this needs aqua, aura, and vitreous. So we need, let's say 75 each. So 75, 225. We should be able to make all 3 of these at the same time as well. Some more glass then for a start. Should do us. How much glass was it? It was, yeah, 24 glass will do it. The rest can go in there. And aura, sugar cane is going to do that for us. Sorry, aqua I mean. So 24 sugar cane. Now remember this little setup I did out here. As you can see, that's getting us loads of cactus and loads of sugar cane. That's working away now quite nice. So let's take, actually only 12 of them. I'll put some more in the chest. I should actually turn, well, I'll just let that get full and then let it turn itself off when it's full. And what was the other thing we needed? It was aura, wasn't it? Oops. It is aura, yeah. And is aura the one that's from grass? That's aura, isn't it? Wind. It's 24 aura. I get aura and Velito mixed up a bit. Just don't. What the shit? Where'd that go? I put it back in. Oh, it's there. Double check that is the right one. Aura. It is. Excellent. So that should get us all them. Throw them in there. 24, 24, 12 of them. Should give us 3 of them. Wonderful. So there's our arcane alembics. So now what you do is you click them onto each side. You kind of throw these on, but as I've mentioned before, I like to have liquid going straight into this, so I don't have to have a golem keeping it full of liquid. So what I've actually got now, before if you remember, I had a aqueous accumulator there because I set that up quite early. Well, when I moved all this yesterday, if you remember, that was a little bit higher. I've actually got a liquid tesseract behind there now, bringing water from my little setup in the basement at the other place. So that's getting them. So now when we create something, so let me tell you what, I'll research this real quick off camera. I'll be back in a sec. And back I am. I've researched my wand of equal trade, so now I can make it. I need flax seeds, well, I need permutatio and instrumentum, so I'm going to throw that in there. Now, oops, stood in there, that was not a good move. Now you'll see that the flax seeds there have that little leaf thing. Is that lignum, I think, possibly lignum, and the flint has the rock there, which is saxum. So what we're going to end up with here is, when I make my 1 of equal trade. Oops, 1 of equal trade there. So I've got the right things in there. Now, because we've got alembics on, instead of that going into the atmosphere, that extra stuff is going to these alembics. Wonderful. So now what do we do with it? Well, what do we do with it now? That's going there. That's now usable to us. A couple of things we can do. I made some of these glass vials. Now, I turn on my NEI. You'll see how you make them. Glass blocks and clay. Or you can use that magic wax that I've been getting from Magic Bees that I've been binning. Or you can just use magic wax in circles. So I could use magic wax for that, but I've got plenty of glass and clay, so I just use that method. I made a stack of them, so a stack of clay, 3 stacks of glass. Then myself some glass vials. They're all in there, as you can see. So what we can do with this now is, as long as there's 8 in there, we can collect it into a vial. So 8, 16. Full alembic is 16. That we can't pick that up, so that's not 8. So the way we can see this is if we go to our Thaumcraft bag, that one, and get our actual goggles out rather than just using the modular power suit element on. Let's swap them for them. There we go. Oh, look awesome. Look at that. They go with my with my skin quite well. You can see in there's 4 in there, so there's only 4 sacks them, so we can't actually make. We ain't got enough in there to get it out. We could fill it up with 4 of them, but then we'd have 4 fractures in there, the breaking one. So a couple of things we can do with that. One thing is with a wand. If you click on it, it goes back into there. That's gone back into there. And if we just shift clicked it, it just disappeared into the atmosphere. Now if we shift click that, it puts it back into an alembic again. So it's using the front one there this time, just because that was empty. And so if I click that, if I just click that, that'll put it into the atmosphere. Shift click it. Oh no, sorry, if I just click that, that'll put it back into there. Because I shift clicked it, it disappeared into the atmosphere. And same with that. Clicking will dissipate it into the atmosphere, and shift clicking will put it into an alembic. So you can put your aspects backwards and forwards if you haven't got enough to make them into a vial, or you can put them into a vial. So what do we do with these vials? Well, a couple of things we can do with these. One thing we can do is we can put them into jars, like so. So we could have loads of jars around here. And the other thing is we could just leave them in the vials. The vial gets used up when you put it into a jar. Other thing we can do with this is we can use tallow golems. That's something else we haven't researched. So I've done the research for that. There's a tallow golem. Permutatio, Imperito, Fabrico, Mortis and Corpus. So basically Mortis and Imperito is rubber. Fabrico is crafting benches. Permutatio is eggs or seeds. And Corpus is any kind of meat or food. Most types of food, any kind of meat. I just use rotten flesh. So we can make a tallow golem now. And what the tallow golem does for us is, if I made one of these, which I haven't. Tallow golem is an animation core and uses tallow. Quite simple to make. What we can do with him, if we clicked him onto one of these alembics, then his job would be, whenever there's anything in an alembic, he'd fill it up. Well, he needs to know a couple of things. One thing he needs is a chest full of vials, and he needs to be able to get access to them. So I'm getting quite tight on space all up in here. What I'd probably do is put that there. But that's not good enough yet, because the golem needs to know where the chest is. So what we do is we get some wood and we get a bit of wool. We make one of these things here. It's called a white marker block. You can do it any colour. You get any of the different colours. So I could have orange or pink or whatever. That gets us 2 of them, 4 bits of wood and 1 bit of wool. What we'd need to do is we'd swap that block underneath there. Let's just break that for now. For a marker block, and then our chest being on a marker block, our chest being on a marker block, we can set the golem will look for any marker block. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to get the stuff ready for a golem. I'll make it on camera, but I should have actually made the animation core, but I haven't. So I'll just do that really quick. Back in a sec, we'll make a golem. Okay, we're up to 34 minutes. I'm going to try and keep it under 40 minutes for a change. We're ready to make a perception tallow golem. So I've got 5 bits of tallow. Tallow is just made by throwing corpus into the crucible there and wanding it, clicking it with your wand. And of course animus from Soul Sand. Animation core is just a basic core which is bricks around a bit of nitor with a blue shard. It's your perception. Perception means it can see further. Usually pretty good for a limbic thing if you're going to have jars all around and be able to reach jars further away, but we're not going to actually do it with jars, but I did that. I used the perception core anyway. 4 apples and 8 soul sand in there is going to put all them aspects in there. Now the thing actually needs 8 apple and 8 animus, the little ghost. So we're going to be left with the binding, the solemn, and the plant thing called messis left in the alembics when we met this guy, which was on purpose. I've done that by design. So what we've got there, we've got 8 of each of them things in the vial there. If we click on any of the alembics with this tallow golem, if we clicked on the actual crucible, it'd want a bucket to fill up the crucible with water. If we click on an alembic, there we go, guy's fastened to an alembic. Now if we talk to him, I shall gather the essences from the alembic for you, master, if only I only need vials or a place to get them. Well, what we've got is, we've got a chest there with a marker block in it. And this thing there, this is what goes to the marker block. If we can change that, we can change the colour of that. So if it was on black, it only look for a black marker block. We've got it set on any. We can set it to white because that's what colour marker block we've got. And you see, it gets a little colour on his chest there, to match what colour is set to. We can set it to any because we don't actually need it set to anything. Set that to any, and what we can do is, if we put all these vials, these empty ones, in there, what'll happen is he'll go on a little mission. That's blocking him, I think. Yeah. He'll go on a little mission. He'll fill them up, and because the only place they've got to go is this chest, he'll put them back in the chest. That's generally how I do it. I have it so I keep my vials in chests. What you can do is you could set up a load of these warded jars, which a lot of people do. As long as the warded jar is touching, one of these blocks. If he got some of that plant thing, is it lignum? I can't remember the name of it. If he got some of that plant, instead of putting it in there, because there's a valid jar for it, he'd have put that in there instead. Don't any of that. But I generally just use one of these, and then you can pull these out and use them as you need them. So now, if I wanted to craft something that had messis in it, instead of putting some sugar cane or whatever in there for messis, if I needed 8 messis, I could grab one of them and just throw it in there, and I'd have 8 messis for use. If you have it in the jars, you don't actually have to throw it in the crucible. If I was going to make something that had this lignum in, and it was a jar was near enough to this, I think it's like a 16 range, maybe an 8 range, possibly 16. If this was close enough, we could just use a lignum. I'm going to keep calling it lignum, I'm not sure if it is. We could keep using it out of there, and that's the benefit of having all jars round. So ideally there's 47, I think, or maybe 48 aspects. So you could set up your Thaumcraft room to have aspects all around a couple of corners or a couple of walls, and as long as they're in range of your thingy, if you keep these full, you never actually have to throw things manually into the crucible. I personally like to do it this way and throw things in. I think once you get really established, you probably want to set up jars just because they look good and they add to your Thaumcraft room. But to keep things tidy and easier, I just put vials in there. It takes a little bit of looking for them, but if you need anything, I generally have a couple of empty jars. So if I was going to make something that, let's put that there, let's actually grab a vial, empty that out. That can go in there. If I was actually going to use something that had, say, 64, needed 64 vinculum, for example, I could take 8 vinculum out of there if I had them. I'd just put them into there, and then it could use that. So I sometimes have 3 empty jars that I can just use, rather than throwing the things into there. It's just the same thing though, to be honest. If I throw them in there, or I've put them in the jar, I'll do the same thing. So there you go, that's a little bit of Thaumcraft control with a tallow golem. He'll happily empty any time he can, empty an alembic. Any time there's 8 or 16 in one of these, he'll put it in there. He'll restock himself with vials. So he's got 13 there. Whenever he runs out, he'll grab more out of here. He'll just put any full vials in there. So that's good. So now we've got a little bit of control. We won't be putting as much flux into the atmosphere as we have done before, because this will keep it tidy. And that is going to be a wrap up for this episode. No, it's not. So one more thing. I've got loads of levels. Let's see if we get repair. No, unlucky again. Still haven't got repair. I've got a potency, but I've probably got frugal and treasure books in the chest in the other place. But I'll probably leave that as it is. Unlucky. Still haven't got a repair on that, but it's no big deal. Not been lucky with any of these really. We're getting repair, have I? No, my axe ain't got it. My lightning wand ain't got it, and neither has my equal trade ones. Shame. No big worries though. Let's put this stuff back. So yeah, I'm going to wrap the episode up there. As always, thank you very much for watching. It's much appreciated. I really do appreciate your support, and I hope it was interesting, and I hope you join me next time. And pretty soon we should have a 1.5 pack. I think they might hold it back till Monday. I'm hoping that someone works out the password and shares it on the forum, because it's up there. People just need to work the password out. So I'm sure someone will maybe work it out. It can't be something extremely difficult. I mean, the ultimate beta, the password was just ultimate, so I'm pretty sure that someone will work it out sooner or later, and I hope that when they do, they'll share it on the forum and we can maybe get a 1.5 well started. So yep, thank you for watching, and I'll see you soon. Cheers, bye.